Hey guys, GGA here. Yard sale hauls from Sunday, May 17th, part one. I actually started later in the day, but I found some really cool stuff. So let's jump into this. So I was on my way to a yard sale about an hour away, and I ended up stopping at a yard sale that I randomly saw a sign for. So I was like, oh, cool. So, and I am blown away by what I grabbed this one. So this is you guys are gonna love this. So just grabbed a couple things from this one. It was an older couple with their grandchild, and so the first thing that caught my eye was these Disney products, Pooh and Tigger. So can't go wrong with Disney stuff. And I asked the lady how much they were, and she's like, "Oh, let me call my daughter." She's, "I want to see how." So because I guess they didn't have any prices set. So she's like, "Let me call my daughter. I want to see how much she wants for them." And then she was having a cell phone signal problem, and her husband's like, "Oh, what a great time to have a phone problem." So she ends up getting on the phone with her daughter, and her daughter said that she wanted $10 each. So I said, "Can you do 10 for both?" And she said, "Sure." So yeah, $5 each. So I mean, I don't know when I'm going to move these, but these are really cool. This is actually this looks a lot. This is like I had something like this when I was a kid. But like maybe not as big. But I also had a smaller Pooh doll. But this is really cool. I mean, so this is a pretty good deal, 5 each, and then yeah, Tigger. The wonderful thing about Tiggers. So yeah, I'll see what I can get for these. I think I looked them up right before I bought them. So there's some profit. Well, I'll find out. Not worried about that. It's not like I spent a lot on them. But check this out. This is fucking awesome. And the fact that I came across this like later in the day, like this thing is that you can't always just assume that you're going to find good things early in the day. You might not find really anything good early in the day, but then when you go later in the day and just try to salvage the day, you can find something really awesome. So check this out. So let's take a look at this. So this is a Roland V Drums percussion sound module TD10. Look at this. And the guy I was talking to, he said he was in a band, but he said he never used this. It sat around for a while. I think he said he was a guitar player. Maybe he was a drummer. I don't remember. But he said he was in a band for a while and played shows and stuff, which was really cool. We exchanged contact info, but I haven't. Maybe I'll check in with him and see if because he said he was trying to sell some other stuff soon. So, but yeah, check out this bad boy. So he said he didn't know if it worked. He said he never used it. He said it sat around for a long time. So as you can see, he threw in the power cord. I think he grabbed the power cord in the garage to. No, the power cord wasn't sitting with this, but I guess he found it in the garage. I was like, well, can we turn it on to see if it at least turns on? And he said, sure. So he turned it on, and he said that there was a low battery warning that popped up when he turned it on. So I was like, all right, it turns on, so it probably works. And this is what happened with the negotiation. So he was like, I was like, well, so I mean, I looked it up. I mean, actually, I'll see how it does on Marketplace. I'll see if I get any bites on there on Facebook Marketplace. But I asked him how much he wanted for it, and it's funny when they ask like, "Oh, well, how much is it going for online?" And he threw 100 at me, and I was like, "Well, I'm not sure if it actually just because it turns on doesn't mean that it actually works, but I'm trusting that it does." So I was like, "Well, I am taking a risk here. I don't know if it fully works." And he was like, "Oh, I think," and then he was like, "Oh, he's like, well, how about 80?" I think he went down lower after. So he said he wanted 100, and then he went a little bit, and then he started going lower. He's like, 50's the lowest I'll do it. I was like, that works for me because even if this thing turned out to not work at all, if it had problems, I could still get my money back for it by selling it for parts. But I think it's fine. So, but still, I don't know anything about these things. So, now I'll have to. I'm gonna need to. Actually, it's not as. I don't want to be dirtier. That's fine. So maybe I'll do some research on it and just see, look up some videos about it. But it powered up. Like I said, I can put in the description that the battery is that it was saying low battery. But yeah, it turns on. So I think I'm good to go. And I just figured, with $50, even if it doesn't function properly, I'm not going to lose any money. So, I mean, still, if I got it for 100 or a little bit more, knowing, assuming that it worked, and as long as it does end up working, I mean, even with a little bit more money spent on it, I still would have been fine. So, I was really excited to show you guys. This is so fucking cool. This is one of the coolest things I had ever sourced. So yeah, looks like this is going to work out well. I think it should be fine, but I mean, I don't have any other stuff to hook up to it to test it out. So there you go on the first yard sale of that day. And then part two will cover the next yard sale. The next yard sale, wait till you see what I got from the next yard sale. This is really cool. And like I said, these things I grabbed, this was all later in the day on a Sunday. So And so, like I was saying, this thing, so got it for $50, plenty of room for profit as long as it works properly, which I'm pretty sure it does. So when I pay the guy, I mean, his wife wasn't standing right there, like listening or anything, and she said to her husband, "No, so how much did you get for it?" He said 50. She's like, "Oh wow!" I mean, for something that sat around that they never used, they were happy to get $50 for it. So, yeah, no, this thing is this thing is worth a good amount of money. So as long as since it turns on, I was I mean, if it didn't turn on, I think if it didn't turn on, I probably wouldn't have bought it because I looked, it wasn't going for much for parts only for parts like defective. So, but since it turned on, even though it gave the low battery warning, I was confident in spending $50 on it. So, but really wasn't trying to spend any more than that. But yeah, these people, I do run into people that are tough to negotiate with because some people are like really bad at negotiating or they're greedy. Like it's like they're running a yard sale, but they don't just want to get rid of stuff. They want to like really they don't want to work with you because they know that there's tons of people like me coming in there to buy to resell. So they know. I've never actually had anyone get offended when I tell them that I'm a reseller. I've heard of that happening though. But I've never had anyone try to like say, "Oh fuck you, you're a reseller." Like what do you think people are gonna what do you think people are trying to do? Of course they're reselling. So, but yeah, this some people they want like eBay prices from the yard sales. Yeah, no, but it's like yeah. So this was, I mean, he was glad to get rid of it, and like I said, I'm just really happy with the amount that I spent. He wanted more, but he was willing to go down in price, which was awesome. So, all right, there's so part one wrapping up of this yard sale haul. Part two is coming up after this. So, for anyone that subscribed to me, I put up the short version of this video, and then I'll put up the full version of this video, and then I'll put up part two. So, anyone that watches the shorts, well, at this point, the shorts are only 3 minutes long, but anyone that makes it this far, that checks out makes it this far in the full video, the shorts are where the views are at, of course. But really no one goes for the shorts over the full video. No one really watches the full videos because I just don't have a huge following on here. So, but just if anyone any so I mean at this point, I mean what you're watching right now, at this point this is the full video on YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube. So any likes, comments, views on the full videos are on YouTube are very appreciated. So I don't give any views on the full versions, the full videos on YouTube. The views are more on like TikTok, Instagram, Instagram, which also goes to Facebook, so I get a lot of views from there. But the regular YouTube uploads do not get a lot of views. So any help on YouTube is appreciated. Of course I greatly appreciate the views and likes and comments that I get on the shorts, but it would really help if you guys could also give me views, likes, and comments on these full on these YouTube full uploads, the non-shorts. So, but yeah, of course, with all the other platforms, all the views I'm getting on there, very appreciated as well. These are getting attention on Instagram and Facebook, which is awesome. They seem to be getting the most attention on there. And yeah, I do get some views on here with the YouTube Shorts. So, all right, wrap it up. Part one here. Moving on to part two after this. So, really excited to show you guys the stuff from the next yard sale that we'll be seeing in part two. So, all right, GGA signing out. Click like, comment, follow. See you guys.